Welcome back to Recoup. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. I'm Sweets. This is Sid. This is our Wednesday weekly check-in where we talk about what we've been merging so far and what we are working on next. Sid, do you want to kick it off or do you want to test the state of sandboxes?
Let's test.
Would you mind sharing your screen and going over to chat.recoupable.com? And from here, let's check out /sandboxes to see what the state of your sandbox is first before we start modifying it. So here, can you expand agents, the .agents folder, so we can see what skills you have? Looks like you have one skill of setup sandbox. So I'm going to suggest what we do right now is you send the prompt I'm sending you on Slack. Please install the setup artist skill using a prompt for npx skills add, and then that should be it. All right, I just sent it to you on Slack. Can you take that and send it into a chat?
A chat? Not sandbox?
Yeah, not the sandbox. No. Go onto like the normal chat page, yeah. So what I just changed this morning is I updated the /API/sandbox, the post endpoint, to accept a prompt. Before you had to pass in an exact command, but I know Alexis and most of our customers will not be entering commands. So I added a prompt. That way we can do prompt-based things that trigger our coding assistant. So this spins up a sandbox, and then you can watch it either from here, or if you want to, looks like it's going to keep polling, but you can open it up and then watch it run. And so what this is going to do is it's going to run what you just said. And ideally at the end of this, when you go back to /sandboxes, or hopefully in about an hour, you can go to the files tab. You'll be able to see that the skill that you just asked for is now going to be installed.
Nice. Question
Yesterday, I got it working from email. So you can send the same prompt in email, and it will spin up a sandbox and work. Before, we were not passing the correct account ID into the MCP tools. So actually, email wasn't getting any of the MCP tools. That has been fixed. So now if you send an email asking for any of the tools we have over MCP, it will it'll work. It looks like it's actually running 2 tasks right now, and it's checking them both. Next steps are I would like to update the files tab to do what we said and add the file tree over there. And then I'm going to add in the skills that you're adding right now manually. I want those to be added into the setup action. That way our customers have these right in their sandbox by default without needing to come in and do this additional setup for skills like we're doing now.
Agreed.
But right now I'm doing tweaks over all the sandboxes work across chat, API, MCP, email. You have your own sandbox. It works with Git. It has OpenCode installed right now. Another consideration I'm thinking is replacing OpenCode with OpenClaw. And that would just be, instead of us using OpenCode as the assistant, we use OpenClaw, which has more of an opinionated file structure and running. I did a quick Google search of the difference, and Gemini summarized it as OpenClaw is more general, whereas OpenCode is very code focused. OpenClaw is more vibe coded, whereas OpenCode is more production grade. Do you have any thoughts on us replacing OpenCode with OpenClaw?
I like it. And the way that I'm thinking through it is because OpenClaw already has memory, already has heartbeats that we could be opinionated about how we set up things if we wanted to. And that would give the user memory.
Right.
And then we would still have control over how Opinionated and Recoup sets up artist and orgs. But it would give each user a very specific version of an or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of like that, like where we wouldn't have to build out a memory system for a user. We wouldn't have to build out the gateway. Like all of that stuff is already kind of set up. The hard part will be the onboarding to OpenClaw has a lot of steps about who the soul file and putting in all of their information for APIs and stuff like that. So we would want to probably be opinionated about that in terms of what our customers would want to give access to. But I think why not try it, right? Isn't difficult to swap.
It should be. It's just one command line interface for another. So just getting in our setup, instead of installing OpenCode, installing OpenClaw. And OpenClaw is the same initialization command. So we can skip the setup wizard where you actually have to do stuff, and we'll hard code Vercel AI gateway. We'll put in our own API key. And then yeah, we'll have a lot of nuances afterwards. Like if they configure Telegram, but their sandbox dies and they send them a message on Telegram, how do we wake back up their OpenClaw and spin up a sandbox and do that stuff? So there's going to be a whole lot of infrastructure questions that we're going to have because of the openness of OpenClaw. But I suggest we make the switch to OpenClaw and then do those step-by-step of figuring out the nuances of us managing a fleet of OpenClaw inside of sandboxes.
I like it.
Cool. It looks like it ran the first prompt, and then Opus 6 automatically is running another setup command. I don't know what it did in the first one. Can you check your sandbox tab to see the file system, if that changed at all? Yeah, the first task finished, as you can see there. And here, let's check inside of our agent skills to see if we got anything else. So still just set up sandbox as of right now. It looks like it's running another one, so let's see what happens when that one finishes.
Oh, nice. These are now named before they weren't. That's great. And inside it's just a Recoup empty. Cool. Awesome. I want to get your thoughts on skills versus CLI. I had sent you the what are your thoughts on skills versus CLI? I'll give you a specific. The skill of artist setup currently does 7 to 8 steps, and like step 1 through 6 is like deterministic, like create this folder, create this file. Like it's setting up the shell of the artist's thing, so nothing will change across artists until I'm thinking like another skill kicks in, which is like borrowing from the create artists workflow that like starts to do like research and fill in the blanks of the artists. But in that scenario, would it be smarter to make that a CLI command instead of using tokens to set up artist folders? And like, do you understand what I'm saying?
I suggest keeping it as a skill. The question to ask yourself is, how would a CLI modify the file system? You're saying setting up folders and stuff. So how would a CLI modify the file system?
I guess it has to be a skill. There has to be another way. We're just spending so much. I'm just thinking of like the skill. Like, look how many artists I have. If I have 100 artists and each artist has to go through, each skill requires steps 1 through 6 of setting up like a lot of folders and files within each artist, and I have 100 artists, the room for error and context rot grows greatly. I guess we can do the run and see what happens, but it's just a lot of tokens for setting up stuff. But I guess once it's set up once. So
If the concern is price, we just change to a cheaper model for tokens. How's your tasks looking? Has it finished the task? Okay.
Oh, stop. Yeah.
And now let's check out that agents folder and see if we got a new skill in there. We got another skill in there. So you were now able to use the chat to install a new skill without, so you used the chat to install a skill that you wanted to add that we did not manually add.
Oh, look, this is back. It changed it from names to IDs. Isn't that weird? Or no, is it always like that? No, yeah, it wasn't like that. You saw this change, right? That's not me going crazy, right?
I agree, it's weird.
Let me try it again, see what happens.
But for now, you can run this and you can start to use it in emails. The question goes back to,
wait,
what is
this? All of my artists are like something changed my orgs, because I don't have access to all of my orgs now. It's just these 3. So just keep in mind, added a prompt. It was supposed to install one skill, and somehow my orgs have changed. The amount of orgs that I see has changed.
Okay.
FYI.
I recommend you please test this as much as possible, because in my mind, this is ready for Alexis to use. So please test using Sandbox as much as possible, so that way we don't continue to stretch this iteration longer than it needs to be of getting this into the customer's hands and getting them to start using it.
Okay.
What are your blockers for us showing this to the customer?
I need it to spin up the sandbox, spin up the correct artists in the sandbox, which we just saw it did, but then it didn't. So like there's a little buggy there. So I'm going to keep it.
Can you check inside of that org to see if your artists are there? Okay, so you do have an org and your artists are there, correct?
Correct. But I'm missing.
I'm not happy with the name, but that's a very small thing.
I'm missing. Look how many orgs I have. So for example, I'm missing this org, which was there before. So it, so that's the question, is why did it delete or not show my other orgs? Other than that, what else do we need? Let's see, artists. I mean, let me test it. Let me say, let me go run and say like use the skills file to add, or use the skills to create artists across all of this entire roster. Let's see what it comes up with. That's the big blocker. It's like, we want to make sure that when Alexis gets her sandbox and her artists are there, like that her artists are all set up in a way in which we can build on top of it, knowing that those artists have what we need to build. Like I'm going back to the content pipeline. The content pipeline requires specific files in order to work. And those files need to be in specific folders in order to work. And so like if an artist is missing that stuff, I guess we could create a skill to like remake it or something, but like then just things I just don't want to I don't want to get slopped out and then like have to try to backpedal because like things are not organized correctly. That's all.
What is stopping you from testing these flows that you have in your mind so that you can build your own confidence of whether or not it's working?
I need to move nothing's stopping me right now. Let me create a setup artist skill across my orgs, see what it does. Then I'll delete it, and then I'll run both skills and see what it does. So let me just keep testing, seeing if I test it 10 times, how often does it correctly set up all of my artists with all of the correct folder files? And then from there, we'll see. We'll give it a percentage and see, what percentage are we comfortable showing the customer.
And just keep in mind, if you do want to reset back to 0, just click that red trash can and it'll delete.
Yeah.
It'll delete everything, and then you can start in the same state Alexis will the first time she spins up a sandbox.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let me jump on another call, but we're going to be with Alexis tomorrow, so we're going to get feedback on this anyways from her. FYI.
Awesome.